Today, I want to make a classic 5-room dungeon, but with a twist. Every dungeon is a reflection of its creators, and I really want to know what a dungeon would look like if a bard crafted it. What would they stockpile? Why is it a dangerous place? Why would they even make it? And equally important, why would adventurers kick down the door and kill a bunch of violinists? To get started, let's design the bard. We'll go ahead and name her Rhapsody Rapslash, Triton bard from the depths of the sea who sings from the depths of her heart. Unfortunately, her music sounds like if you set a closed barn on fire while scraping broken porcelain shards over an oversized chalkboard. That, or an unhealthy mix of college dorm freestyle rapping with music from Summer Rain and Jennifer Murphy. With lyrics as offensive as her vocals and her strumming, she was expelled from 4 different bardic colleges.
Get out of here! Get out of here, man!
Before going off to start her own band with other talented individuals, and we'll call this collective Queen Voice and the Chubba Lubba Brothers. After several months of failed concerts with people literally running frantically out of the venue with their ears bleeding, they resorted to robbing patrons of other musicians, doing so with a mix of insulting magic and forceful theft. Ironically, they are all incredibly skilled musicians, but their styles clash and Queen Voice is so strong that her music magically causes terror. Currently taking some time to fully redesign their music, Voice and the Chubbas vengefully snuck into the bardic colleges and stole a couple of magical instruments. Now they're hard at work in their musical crime grotto, hoping to find that special sound that brings them some renown. Unfortunately for them, an old concert goer passed by their lair and recognized the unforgettable agony through a crack in the wall, and quickly rushed to rat on them to the bard schools, who will soon enlist a group of wonderful adventurers to beat them up, save the instruments, and earn the stolen gold as their reward. The adventurers will probably be given flutes and small instruments as a thanks, and we'll make those later. We've got our setup, our location, and our motivation. Let's build this dungeon. Also, for formatting on my end, that whole segment was like perfectly 1 page of a script, which is really satisfying. Room number 1. Upon approaching the grotto, the soon-to-be intruders will discover a small, lightly waterlogged tunnel that might cause trouble for larger-sized adventurers, leaving them with a couple of scrapes and bruises. The first chamber is the Lobby of Inspiration, the hangout and napping chamber for the band. Personal belongings are placed on flat stone tables and strewn across the room, while empty bottles and shells are piled up around a trash sack near the entry. Drying food hangs from ropes across the room from a sleeping pool that leads down to the ocean, and a pair of chests sit unlocked by the wall next to several instruments beside a tunnel leading into the next room. If the intruders search the chests, try to pass into the next room without carrying an instrument or entering the pool first to get wet, these instruments will spring to life, blocking the door and loudly playing high-tempo battle music to warn the musicians inside while engaging the intruders in combat. We'll use animated object stats here, mainly the flying sword and the broom, but there'll be bagpipes, a bassoon, a slicing violin, and maybe if we want to make it hard, a tuba with the smothering rug stat block. I think that happened to a guy in SpongeBob. I think Mr. Krabs does that. The chests have some personal bags of fitting gold and pearls, a couple daggers for food prep, wine bottles, and maybe some of the devil's lettuce. Hey, really quick, did you know that there's only a few days left to get your tabletop table? If your game night has ever suffered from overcrowding and a buttload of clutter, this little guy opens up extra table space while also elevating your game. Literally. It's like a bunch of extra snack compartments tucked under a super high quality space. They've got 2 variants, and if you get it this week, you're saving 10% of your little coin purse contents. I like it because it perfectly fits my old D&D grid, but also the One Piece card game, which I play alone sometimes. And also it's got card and cup holders. And also it folds up and has a bag, so if your game night moves to a friend's house, just pack it up, and unpacking only takes a minute, which is nice. Thanks to Tabletop Table for the sponsorship. Click the link below to check out their campaign before it's wrapped up, and back to the video.
Tables!
On to room number 2. This will be the central chamber of the dungeon, essentially serving as the living room and practice room, with multiple chambers branching off of it. The entry door, a large tunnel, 2 medium tunnels, and 3 small tunnels plugged by sponges. In the center of this room is a stage, while 6 chairs sit in a ring wrapping around the entry door. Otherwise, it's mostly empty, aside from acoustic sponges growing on the wall and a light crack coming from the world above that looks like a stage spotlight. I just came up with that now, that's kind of fucking cool. If the intruders manage to mute the instruments in the previous room or beat them within 1 round, only 1 band member can be found here. Otherwise, they'll have to face an entire performance of terror against Queen Voice and the Chubba Lubba Brothers. Let's go ahead and run this without the big tough fight though. I want to introduce stuff one bit at a time. Sitting in one of the chairs, reading sheets of music, is the bongo player Grubba Chublub. He'll panic at first, frantically tapping the bongos with his feet, but can be reasoned with and will give directions if threatened. The sponge-blocked rooms are isolation chambers for practicing. The large tunnel leads to the instrument storage room, and the medium tunnels lead to the library and the instrument workshop respectively. He's no vocalist, so fighting him won't immediately alert the others.
That's what you get.
Him and the rest of the Chubba Lubbas all share the performer stat block. In 2 of the sound booths are other brothers practicing. Tubba Bubble is perfecting the automaton, and Borba Chublub is playing a magical item resembling a theremin. The theremin has all the abilities of the Falkland Bandor instrument of the Bards, and is one of the 3 stolen items. The music library has several bookshelves, a comfy-looking couch, a small bar, and a desk for writing. On the bookshelves are a mix of tomes, paper books, shells, scrolls, and scattered music notes inside some of the scrolls. You could probably find a solid chunk of low-level bard spells in here, and maybe some of the lyrics are so offensive that you could take psychic damage trying to read them. The instrument storage room is haphazardly thrown together with a couple of broken items, a few artisanal instruments worth some cash, a jar of mayonnaise, a jar of horseradish, and a starfish.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
As well as a lone chest with a solid chunk of the stolen gold.
Hello, I like money.
Let's also place a second of the 3 stolen magic items on top of this pile of instruments, turning it into a trap where everything could collapse and making it that impronounceable cittern. The instrument workshop, our final room, is at the end of a solid-length tunnel. A strong and well-used workbench is in here, multiple strings hang from the walls, wet wood shavings cover the floor, and several wood ingots, that sounds right, those hang from the ceiling, while broken instrument parts and snapped strings are piled in a corner. This space is occupied by our final boss, Rhapsody Rapsplash, and her friend Rumba Bubble, who were studying and fixing instruments and doing really appropriate things that aren't nasty at all. Wait, oh my god, you could play this whole story like where all the band members have like secret relationships, and you could break apart the band, getting all the brothers on your side before the final fight by uncovering the truth. Maybe throw some journals in the entry chests in the library about them getting it on, or if you talk to all of them you could figure that out. I don't know. Anyway, it's confrontation time. The intruders can't leave without the last instrument, the Anstrith harp, which Rhapsody will quickly grab from the desk behind her. Any negotiations the intruders make will likely fail, as she's a very unlikable person, who also put a life-threatening level of effort into retrieving the magic item. I do feel like Rhapsody is too obnoxious to not eventually start singing, very much like the siren in Hades, which would have to kick off initiative. She uses the Performer Maestro stat block, with the little shift that her beguiling song can only cause fear instead of charming the listener. I think that makes this dungeon fit for a party somewhere around level 6 to 9, or a little higher considering the risk of fighting the band together, or a lot lower if you have the spell Silence, because this is a musical dungeon. Regardless, her pummeling, defeat, or death wraps up the confrontation and the dungeon is done.
Too bad that didn't kill me.
Let me know if you liked it. I think doing one styled for every class would be a lot of fun, and I don't know, subscribe, man. I have a lot of videos. Tell me if you ran the dungeon, how it went, but like get out of here. Go to the next video in your queue. Goodbye.